I used to think I knew GIS until I joined those guys.
Dissect 2025 as we get into season 3. Need to bring back the art of making beautiful maps. I love beautiful maps. I'm obsessed with maps that are beautiful.
3D map, so it was more or less like a digital twin.
Do you guys monitor partnerships, global partnerships, and how those somehow cascade into how Geotech is used tools?
In as much as anyone can create a map, but the sad truth is not everyone understands the back end of that map.
That does not mean that the classic GIS is going away.
Any other software people come up with, I think QGIS have shown us the agent side of it and what they're already doing, right?
There's this other side where by now you can use random forest, support vector machine, the CAD. So yeah, you combine them, then there's an overseer.
What do you guys think you're not talking enough about?
But we are not talking enough about how to get jobs after uni.
Geohabari podcast. Hi guys. So if you can see me, then this means Geohabari is officially on video, which is such a big milestone. We've been behind the shadows for the last 2 years, fully running on Spotify. So yeah, this is a big year. So this is the year where we finally decide to be on camera and converse with you guys, and you can be able to see the team. So I'm really excited for this one. So officially, welcome to the Geohabari podcast. My name is Yariwo, and I am a host for the tech series segment, and I'm truly excited to be here. So allow me to welcome the other hosts that are currently on set and the Geohabari team. Not the entire team is here, but really excited to have part of the team here. So yeah, officially you'll see Linus with a tie. You'll see our creative guy. But so yeah, let's have them introduce themselves, and then we can jump into episode 1, which is basically us catching up and catching you on what this season is about. Hi, Linus.
Right, yeah. Finally putting the name to the face. I am Linus Anari, the host of the Young Professional segment. Well, we've been having quite a number of chats before, and I really, really appreciate the support that we've been having, especially on the Young Professional side. So yeah, that's you'll be seeing this face more often on video.
With a tie?
Well, debatable, but depending on what they want. I mean, give the people what they want anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, Vincent.
Hi.
It's good to have you here. You've been the background guy.
Yeah.
How does it feel being on set? Is it a hot seat?
Yeah, it is. It is a hot set.
Yeah, introduce
But
yourself.
hey, guys. Vincent here, the creative guy behind Geohabari podcast. I'm not sure if you're going to see this face more often this season, but yeah, it's really a pleasure to be here, and we can't wait to see what comes from this season.
Yay! So that's officially the team that's on set. There are 2 more people who are not on set. But yeah, you'll be seeing a few more faces from the team. I want to give these guys one more chance. Are you guys sure? Do you want to run off set? You're sure we can go on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Great. Okay. Let's this conversation. Let's get this started. So this is season 3 of episode 1. Last year was a really good season for us. But I think before we get to that, the last time we were on set was purely on Spotify. That was in October. So there's a lot of catching up we probably need to do. Maybe before we get into that, yeah, what have you guys been up to?
Well, I started my internship at Eastern Africa. Yep. And guys, I used to think I knew GIS until I joined those guys. There are so many brilliant minds out here in the geospatial field, but they're behind screens, behind their softwares and everything. Yeah, people come up with incredible ideas out there, and the craziest thing is how constantly you are learning, and the rest is just high voltage, like the whole thing about just getting to learn everything new every single day. Yes, so what I've been. I think Esri has been my highlight this year so far.
Oh, I like that. It's reminding me of that meme where this guy has numbers passing through his face. It feels like you're in this matrix where you're learning so much and you're trying to figure out what you like and what you don't. So I like this phase for you. Yeah. Congratulations on that internship.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
What have you been up to, Vincent? Our creative?
Well, just to continue what Linus has said, what you've said about having math all around. Well, mine was not math. There's no
was
math
yours?
at all. I think after October, I went to Shags
Oh.
to decompress. Yeah, it's been a crazy year, but yeah, I just came back. This is my first assignment for the year, and yeah, so pumped.
We're so happy to have you on set. And thank you for coming back from Shags to see us. So yeah, that's where everyone has been. Where have I been? Where have I been?
Everywhere.
Where have you been?
Yeah, I think everywhere. We'll get into that. And I want us to dissect 2025 as we get into season 3. And 2025 was very interesting. I'm going to start with where I have been. I think from a highlights perspective, the industry has been very interesting, looking at how geo is evolving and how the market is also evolving. So I'm going to start with a couple of highlights, and then I'm curious to get your perspectives as well on these highlights. So the first one is definitely, I think last year, one of my key highlights was seeing the number of hackathons that the industry is now hosting and how the winners of these hackathons are emerging and the different themes they're talking about. That was a key highlight for me. So I wanted to talk about these hackathons and what, did you guys do any hackathons last year? Were you part of any? What stood out for you for any? Yeah.
Right. Okay. The fact that you're looking at me, I'm guessing I need to go fast. All right. Yeah. I am a sucker for hackathons, but last year, towards the end of last year, was a bit difficult because I was fully engaged in something else. But still, I was part of a team. We did win the AI for
Startups.
for startups? Yeah. Sorry, AI for startups. Myself and a mate of mine called Vincent Kipiegon and Bundi as well. And yeah, that was actually quite thrilling, and we never expected we would have won. And reminded me that the first step is usually to show up and sign up. So if you're speaking about hackathons, yeah, I've been there before.
Do you mind talking about what, briefly, from like a high level perspective, what was your solution? Do you remember?
Right,
You
yeah.
and the team. You should remember.
You're making me feel like a fraud here. All right. So the solution involved trying to use satellite intelligence. So basically using remote sensing or remotely sensed data, Earth observation data, like images that have been taken by satellites, to try and help the farmers predict when the rains are going to come and maybe what crop to plant, because there has been rapid changes in terms of the climate. And this is one of the things that usually tends to affect the farmers on the ground. And so what the solution was more about the prediction side of it, whereby it crunches up data from the previous years, and it's like this year we're expecting rains at this and this period of time. And also using this type of information, insurers can use it to know when and how much they need to pay out to the farmer. So in a nutshell, yeah, that's it.
That's
I'm
really
not a
smart.
fraud, Yariwo. Yeah.
Clearly. And I also like that you take your omega-3. Your memory is really improving. I like that you've talked about your solution very conclusively.
That was supposed to be off camera though. Yeah.
Vincent, any hackathons? What did you
Well,
think of the hackathons last year? Did you attend any? Did you see any that was fascinating?
Yeah. I did attend one. I think that the one we worked together, Africa Earth Observation Challenge.
That was definitely a highlight.
Yeah. Again, it's about agriculture. The solution or the guys that are impressed me were Antogrow and what they're doing for agriculture. So yeah, I think that is my highlight for hackathons, conferences. That was particularly important. I was actually rooting for those guys.
For Antogrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hang on a second. We haven't mentioned. Can we say how many people are actually beginning to take part in these hackathons? Particularly for my segment, the young professionals, I'm really, really proud. I have even second years in uni taking part in hackathons that in my level I wouldn't have been able to participate in. So yeah, it's really, really inspiring seeing like the young professionals, even those people in uni also take part in this type of hackathons organized by Kenya Space Agency and many other stakeholders in the industry. Yeah.
I really want to say, in my day in uni, there were no hackathons, but that would show my age. But yeah, I really like that you guys are getting exposed to hackathons. I didn't have that in campus.
Was
and
that
I
during
like
the
that.
moon landing? Oh, sorry.
Can we cut that?
sorry.
I
yeah.
actually think that the entry point for hackathons is now easier. If you're having second years trying to join hackathons, well, I didn't do that when I was in campus too.
Yeah.
But if you're having first year, second years doing it, then it's now easier to like create a solution
Yeah.
right now compared to when we were in school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me last year, what these hackathons for me from an observing perspective, when I take a step back and look at what this means, it's starting to feel like geonerds are finally getting the reward or the recognition they need in the market. It's starting to feel like Geotech is really getting into the main conversation scene. We
Right,
never
yeah.
used to do that, right? Like earlier on, when I came into the industry, let's not talk about the year, but yeah, as long as I came into the industry,
All right.
when I came into the industry, I think the only thing I knew about geo was purely cartography. So it blows my mind to see how the younger people and the
Digitizing
younger people
cartography, yeah.
are currently just ingesting and using cloud computing, AI applications, web apps to just create these solutions that really change lives. So I really like that. And I think last year for me felt like the industry was suddenly taking this upward momentum where everyone is suddenly recognizing, okay, yeah, geotech is a thing, and let's now have a way to build capacity through hackathons. Kenya Space Agency did the Kenya Space and Investment Forum, where the Earth observation was taking place. So I really like that. So yeah, I like that. Last year feels like that, and so this year we probably will see a lot of more momentum in terms of hackathons and more solutions coming out of the sector. So I like that. So yeah, shout out to everyone who participated in the Africa Earth Observation Challenge. We see you. Shout out to you. Shout out to the winners. I think that was Antugro, Faminga,
Faminga,
and
yeah.
Radar 360. So shout out to you guys for participating in that, and every other participant, and for Kenya Space Agency and Reese for organizing that.
True.
So let's go to something else that stuck for me, and I'm curious to get your perspectives. So someone said on social media, we need to bring back the art of brewing tea. Now, as a geotech person, I think we need to bring back the art of making beautiful maps. I love beautiful maps. I'm obsessed with maps that are beautiful, right?
Yeah.
So this includes everything. So whether it's maps, whether it's user interfaces that just catches the user, whether it's tools that are just amazingly configured. Last year I also saw a lot of maps that I saw and projects that maybe stop for a second, just stop scrolling and be like, oh my God, this is such a beautiful map. I don't know if you guys saw any observations around that. Beautiful maps.
Myself, it was a web map actually.
Oh.
And it's some brilliant guy that I met recently. I was going through his work. He's too modest. Called Dennis. He's a specialized intern at Esri Eastern Africa. And there's this creative web map that he created. Was about trying to showcase the pollution across Nairobi. So he used a couple of APIs that keep on fetching like the data constantly and everything. Then on the displaying aspect of it, he did this beautiful 3D map. So it was more or less like a digital twin. But now the thing that struck me the most, and I found as though it was creative, was how he used his legend. So the areas that the air quality was poor. Sorry, it was about the air quality. Where it was poor, he'd use these emojis, where it's an emoji, probably when it's poor, it's red and it's frowning really angry.
Use the emojis
and
on the legend.
you can see it when you zoom in, maybe towards the CBD, when you zoom out to maybe Karen, it's a smiley face, green and very excited. Then when you zoom out and maybe you approach somewhere like Pipeline and everything, it's something so frowning there and red in color. And I was like, whoa, this is actually really bad, because it gives you a mental perspective about how that area feels like living there.
Yeah.
It's really annoying, really frustrating as compared to other areas like Lower Kabete, where it's more like, oh, this is peaceful. Yeah.
And that's on using your free will, guys. Start using emojis on your legends. I really like that example.
Was quite brilliant, yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, wait, maybe do you want to go first?
Yeah, I should go first.
Yeah.
But, I think from my side, I don't have like just one map that Nini, because of trying to find the beautiful maps and so. But there is one guy, Francis Kioni, who we studied together in JKUAT. By the way, guys, I am a geospatial. I'm not just a creative. So he borrowed from Popovich. You know Popovich?
Yeah.
Yeah. It
Milos.
has, very cool libraries for R. So Francis has been doing really good maps. I don't want to point out at any specific one, but when you see a good map, you know it's a good map.
Pause.
And then there is a guy also who borrowed from Popovich. I think he's called Lungo. He's a Tanzanian.
Oh.
Yeah, he did a map of Africa. I think he was doing a thematic map of temperatures. And yeah, it looks so good. So Yeah, big up to Popovich, of course, and
For
the
the
guys using the
resources.
libraries.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think people are doing so beautiful things with maps, and it's nice when you see that there are libraries that can enable anyone to make a beautiful map. You don't have to like just go sit down and spend a lot of hours doing something. But if we have it in script, if we have it in libraries, in programmable things, then we can get good maps as fast as we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, the other one, what's the other map that made me stop? Wait, and we've actually hosted Francis on the pod.
Yeah.
He was on season 2 of the pod. You should definitely listen to that episode. He talks about trackers, basically car trackers and how they're using it at MGAS. So that was very insightful. So shout out to you, Francis, and everyone else. I think for me, the map, I saw a couple of maps and I'll probably not be able to mention all of them. But there's two that I'm thinking of. There's one by someone called, I think he's called Musa Thiongo, and he did such a beautiful map of Garissa where he was looking at the before floods and after floods and how he presented it. I think I like that he presented it in a way where there was one that shows what Garissa was like in true color, then in false color, and I think he used one other element, I can't remember. So there were 3 maps showing the before, and then there was another third layer showing the after, it was such a beautiful map. I promise you, when you see that map, you'll pause for a minute. I love that map. I think the other one was Mary Mude's map. She was on your segment, right?
Oh, yeah. The first episode ever.
She also
Yeah.
does, she does.
She
really
does
good
really
maps,
beautiful
yeah.
maps. I like this one specifically because she talks about how she used Canva and GIS tools to actually create it. And for me, I was blown away because I know how you use Canva, right? And I feel like now we're at a point where it's fascinating when I see geotechies going out of their way to use traditional creative tools to just push the boundaries. So it's a map where she's overlaid. She's looking at a correlation between access to services and disasters. So she's overlaid all this and then she has explanations around it. And what makes it really fascinating for me is that she's building with the community. So every day she puts like an update on how far she is and what she's working on that week. So I was like, this is such a beautiful way of doing it. It's like she's creating the map with us.
Yeah.
The other one was Ezekiel. Ezekiel tags us on his posts. He does very beautiful land cover maps. I love land cover maps, but I like them even better when you push the boundaries and just have the most beautiful way of representing it. So yeah, those were some of the highlights for last year. The other one that we can't not talk about. Did you guys see that conversation about the African Union and the size of Africa? Wait, have you guys ever
Been
noticed?
hearing about that, the
of
projection
course.
and everything.
Yeah, Africa is bigger than we usually see in the maps compared to the other continents. And
But we do understand the underlying principle behind that, though, right?
Wait, let me
It's
first
why
go
we
back.
have
Wait,
whole survey industry.
Okay. Should we get into the technicals here? Because Mr. Sami Matara took me really well.
Wait. So according to that campaign, so it's an African Union. Wait, I can't remember who first started it, but African Union just jumped on it to support it, right? So as GeoNerds, there's definitely map projections that we like to use. I think my projections were probably everyone's worst unit, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Speak for yourself, please.
Okay, Nad.
No, okay, it depends
Okay,
with the
okay.
lecturer that you had. That is the one thing I'm going to say. Yeah. It
You
depends
liked
with the
that
lecturer.
unit?
No, it's because of the lecturer. He made it interesting to understand the
You liked
theoretical
that
side
unit?
of it.
Yeah.
Betray me.
I'll be truthful. Yes, I did not like the unit. It's a lot of math. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of math.
Are
Yeah.
you voluntarily saying you like maths?
Wait, what part of the projections are we speaking about? Because if
That's
you notice,
for converting, computing literally on
Converting
paper. Like where are we
projections
doing it
on
on
paper.
paper?
oh, we were using computers, guys, and programs
Yeah,
and code.
okay.
I mean,
Okay,
it's
yeah.
the
Okay,
University
yeah.
of Nairobi.
Okay, let's
just
talk
for the
about
record.
African Union. So what happens is, if you're a techie and you've ever created a map, you know there's continents that look bigger than they should. And one of the things that came out is on those maps, Africa somehow looks smaller.
Yeah.
Right.
We
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
Distortions,
Yes,
projections,
yes,
right?
yes.
And so the union is pushing for maps that we create. And I'm very about you GeoNerd who creates maps. They're saying we should start using equal area projections, right? So one thing, again, I'm going to reference Francis' map. So Francis actually, after that announcement went out, Francis went ahead and did a map using equal area for continents, right? And it's interesting because I was actually looking at it and his summary is very interesting. He talks about how Greenland Africa is actually 14 times bigger than Greenland, right? Greenland is like 2 million square kilometers.
Yeah.
Africa is like 30 million, right? But on that map, you can't tell. Greenland actually looks bigger.
Yeah.
Obviously, because Maketa makes the distortion
it's right at the top, so it's
right,
very
it's
tall,
right at
yeah.
the top, and then at the equatorial countries, it's sort of smaller, right?
Yeah.
So that's why Greenland obviously would look bigger than any other continent up there. And so I'm curious to know, do you guys think this area conversation is important? Or you're just going to keep making the maps the way you want them, free will?
Firstly, there's that side, which is completely logical. I don't disagree with anyone who wants to go that, but also feel like as though we also need to move to the side where we try to explain to people why the maps are the way they are. Because
But
most
these are-
people feel like as though it's a geopolitical thing where there's international powers that are maybe trying to make Africa do this, do that, but yeah.
That's a very interesting point.
Yeah, so it's on the communication aspect that I feel
Okay,
like is the
yeah.
way to let it out there as well.
Do you think that's important?
I think it's important we know that maps always show something,
Yeah.
and we cannot show the whole world equally. Can we do that? I don't know. But
There will be
area
distortions.
minimize
There will be a
distortions
lot of
somehow.
distortions.
we should minimize distortions, and
Yeah.
also depends on what we are using the map for, right? So the conversation should be like for African issues that we are maybe showing on the map, then we should try to use the projections that show
Or the real
Africa
size of
on how it
Africa.
looks like, how it truly looks like. Because if we want to show Greenland and Africa, I don't know if we have a projection that shows both of them in the same size. If there is better, we can use that. But I'm not picking a side. I'm just saying let's be specific on what the map is for. Because if you're using a map for equal area, but you're showing it to an audience that maybe doesn't know that, you will be like, Greenland is bigger than Africa. But do we want to tell them that? No. So maps are specific to what we wanna do. So if we stick to that and maybe know that the people who are consuming this map are the ones we meant it for, then we are good with the projections we use. But I agree with you that we are advocating for projections that show Africa the way it is compared to the other continents, but we can't use that everywhere. People in aeronautics may not use that because they might use another projection that is preserves distance, what would you call area and stuff. But if we want to show the whole world, we will use another one that has distortions. So my take is,
So it's based
let's
on
communicate,
use.
but let's communicate to the people who are using the map. Because you can get someone who doesn't know what the map is for, and those are the ones who will be loudest.
Right, yeah. Because personally speaking, I feel like as well it's the information gap that is critical. It's the way I saw some guy was trying to, I think he was rage baiting me on Instagram, trying to explain that, that space is not real because how does fire burn in space inside the rockets?
Yeah.
And I'm like, guys, wait, I almost snapped my mind. Like, have you ever gotten angry until you want to like type something, but when you pop into the comment section, you see people have already commented about the same, and you're like, I'm not the only one here, because there's that gap, then the information gap that I feel like as though
And
it's
people are
probably
taking
on purpose.
advantage of that gap. Like,
Yeah.
and it's a good thing. I mean, if you can raise topics that elicit reactions from the tech community, then it's good. Although maybe they may not be accurate or they may not be true, then those conversations are the ones we need to bridge the gap between the people who don't know and we, the people who maybe know what maps are for.
Right. Yeah.
Very interesting. What's the other thing that happened last year that was interesting? Did I miss something before we get into emergent tech?
No, not sure.
You can cycle back.
Yeah.
If I remember.
Yeah. I think the other thing that was also interesting is, do you guys monitor partnerships, global partnerships, and how those somehow cascade into how geotechies use tools? So let's get to the world of AI. I think we've been talking about AI for quite a long time. What changes are you guys looking forward to? What changes are you seeing from an AI perspective this year, especially? What are you looking forward to? Maybe learning or exploring. What does that world look like for you? I think AI was a big conversation last year, especially. I think we've been using GeoAI for a minute, the deep learning and all that, right?
Yeah.
So there's this thing that's coming up on generative AI and having this natural language interfaces where now you can talk to your agent and you get a map so quickly, right?
Right, yeah.
Which is
even does the analysis for you.
literally does everything for you, right? And I'm just thinking, I can't remember the last time we had such a big. I think this has been very. You guys can't remember this, but let me try and tell you guys how web mapping came about.
Yeah.
Have you ever? Did you know we used to have maps that were just static without being published or being seen outside of your desktop? Did you know that?
Yeah. We used it in high school, a subject called geography.
Okay. Yeah. So before we got into web mapping, I think the biggest change we had right before AI for me was cloud computing, which is where web mapping came in. And then now we had web 0.3 where people could now interact. It's just information is not unidirectional, it's bidirectional, right? You can interact with the audience. So for me, in my head, I think besides after cloud computing, AI might be the next big thing that shifts how geotech moves or how geotech professionals move, and even how the world interacts with maps and location information, right? And so yeah, let's talk about that. Do you guys use? Let's first go back. How many do you guys use Chat GPT? Be honest, please, Vincent.
I will be honest.
How many times in a day do you use Chat GPT?
Not how many times. What do I use it for?
What do you? I like that you refresh. Okay,
What do I
you
use it
ChatGPT
for? I'll quote someone. I don't remember the name, but AI is here with us.
Yeah.
Right? It's here. It's not going anywhere. And for sure, it's fastening our processes, our workflows.
Yeah.
For the repeatable, what do we call tedious and repeatable
routine
tasks.
work. Yeah.
And I use AI to give me ideas. AI has the biggest, I think, library of the internet. More good AIs have the biggest library of the internet, and it gives you ideas on what you wanna generate. So for creative work, I use it to give me ideas. But you have to be careful on how much you rely on it. Like, give it something good, it will give you.
What was your last
something
prompt?
good. So my last prompt, JS wise, I'll just go random. I wanted to create something, a poster, right?
Okay.
So yeah, I have images of people. I want them in the poster, but I can't figure out how I'm going to
Bring it together.
lay out the whole thing
Yeah.
and then include the information. I'm like, hey, can you give me ideas on how to lay out? And then it gives you, and then you just go back and do your thing with your software. So it's really a good thing. It helps you clear the fog if you have fog in your thinking process.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't replace you. I think it's a whole conversation on whether it's
Yeah.
replacing people or not. But yeah.
Are you using it from a geo perspective?
First and
or
foremost, don't ask me what my last prompt was.
was it about this episode?
I just told you not to ask me.
Okay, what was your okay, so fine.
But anyway,
what do
about
you use
AI.
it for? Yeah.
Yeah, I personally think I use it to try and organize my thoughts. So I usually have these rambling thoughts in my head whenever I have an idea, and the way I structure them and everything is usually not as straightforward as how AI would do it. So I'd be like, hey, by the way, this and this and this, I'd like this and that, blah blah blah. Then I'd ask it whenever I press enter, it is like, that's okay, a brilliant idea. Of course, it has a way of hyping almost everything to
You
make you
literally
feel
could be
better.
doing the wrong thing and it's
Really a
like,
nice guy.
you're doing it right. I really like that you're taking this direction. It's like, do you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, it just organizes everything. But when it moves to the geospatial side, I feel like as though it's really been having massive tracks, especially from the one. I don't know if you guys have heard about Alpha Earth by Google's
Google.
DeepMinds.
That is such a brilliant tool.
That's one of the most insane things because it's basically embedded images. So basically, what they do is that they take several images. So it's an entire image collection spanning back probably 10 years or something. Then it's like they compress them using like AI. It's called GeoFoundation models, and also Google has theirs. So it ends up compressing them to a point whereby you can use a single image to get information about other aspects about the same area from even previous years and everything. And it's organized into 64 dimensions. I don't know if that makes sense. It's like joining how will I put, like Legos
Yeah.
all together, and then you can easily tell using one image you can do this, you can do that. And I've been seeing the United Nations using that quite a number of times to verify carbon sequestration, but in a particular because it has wide and vast amount of application. Yeah, so it's one of those things that have really baffled me to get to learn that we are moving to this direction and there's a lot to learn.
Yeah. I think geofoundation models are going to be a big thing. That's one thing I'm fascinated about. I want to learn that so much. The other thing is, so I started exploring, now we're talking about generative AI. So yesterday I was exploring, I don't know if you guys know this Geospatial GPT, like GeoGPT, like the same way there's ChatGPT, there's like a geo bit of it, right? The same thing, it's free, you can use it, interacts with you, right? Basically, let me call it AI that knows location, for lack of a better word, right? So now, instead of someone creating a map where you're going to a software, then learning how to create a map, a basic map, you literally go to that interface and just type, create for me a map of Kenya with all 47 counties and put for me the major towns. I tried that prompt yesterday.
Oh,
Literally within minutes. I think that's why I'm so obsessed with LLMs and just how it's going to change how we look at generative AI, even from a geo perspective.
Yeah.
So you should definitely experiment with GeoGPT if you haven't. I think it's a very brilliant way. Well, not as brilliant as it can get, but I think it's starting to show us what's possible from a generative AI perspective. Just the emergence of natural language processing interfaces for geo just blows my mind, because this means that we are geo is finally by default being taken to the masses, which is something we've been struggling with, right?
yeah.
So literally anyone can search for anything. The other one I've been exploring is, did you guys know QGIS released a GeoAgent plugin?
Yeah.
That is really smart. That's something else you should try, right?
And it's actually open source.
It is fully open.
That's the most brilliant
right?
part of it.
And so what they've done is they're actually enabling both Olama. It's actually linked to the Olama model and the GPT model. So you basically can pick which LLM you want to use in it, right? And it's the same thing. You basically run it within the QGIS environment and run the command you want it to run. Load my data set. Show me how many layers, attributes, like literally any
I want
command.
to achieve this, this, and that.
Yes.
Could you? Yeah.
Like prompt engineering is going to change a lot how we interact with it.
Yeah.
But now this makes me take a step back and ask a very important question. Does this mean, I was thinking about it, Juicy, do you guys watch animations or anime?
Anime, no. Animations.
Do you guys know Kung Fu Panda?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Who does?
Oh, hell, thank God. Okay. Yeah. So,
Was it there during your time?
oh, shut it. Shut it.
Yeah. Impressive.
But I was thinking about it from a generative AI perspective and what's happening.
Yeah.
And from a geo perspective, I found myself asking or wondering, does this mean that we are seeing or we are starting to see the end of having shifus in industries? You know, shifus or masters in industries where someone has literally gone through the entire workflow from a very hard coding point of things.
Yeah.
And now there's generative AI. So it's just
making
like,
things easier for you.
yeah, it's making things easier for you, right? So for me, my question is, does this mean we are starting to see the end of masters of things, right? Like, to what extent is this going to replace the need for basic skills, right?
Yeah,
Because now it means anyone can create a map, right? And then the other question I also have in my head, which would be interesting to observe this year, is where does this put a typical geospatial professional? Where does that put us, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I have an answer in my head, but I also don't want to jinx it, because it feels like the red. It's like we're in a matrix, and it's like, is it the red? Is it
The blue.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm curious to know your takes. Like, what does this mean for geospatial professionals?
I think I'll go back to what Dr. Pamela once said when she came for our GS week. I think when I was in second year, the first time ever seeing that face. Yeah. And she was quite inspirational. And there's some aspect where she mentioned where she was in a certain, she was employed somewhere and there were so many GS analysts.
Yeah.
But because the question was, so what is the difference between us who have done a degree in geospatial and someone who's maybe done
Crash course.
maybe a crash course on it, maybe a
Why are you
unit
attacking people with
or something like that? No, okay.
Go for boot camp.
No, it's
in
okay.
I'm trying to
geospatial.
break it down. Please don't make me feel bad, okay? I was in my element here, guys. All right, but so you come to realize that in as much as anyone can create a map,
Yeah.
but the sad truth is not everyone understands the back end of that map. So it's the same thing whereby you might be doing an analysis and you realize that there's so many errors being thrown.
Yeah.
Only to realize that the only reason is because you haven't shifted from a geographic coordinate system to a projected coordinate system.
Yeah.
And also like what projected coordinate system should you be using for what
Yeah.
particular, and why? What informs that particular knowledge? So you come to realize that this whole theory that is taught in class
Yeah.
goes a long way when it comes to solving the problems in the real world, the
That's
practical
true,
aspect
yeah.
of it.
Actually solving the problem.
Yeah. So it's that thing of, so the additional value that the geo professional brings in is that thing where, you know how you can be when you're starting to code, when you're just early on starting,
STD
and it's
in,
literally
STD out.
you literally have just missed a comma or a tab, and you will spend 3 weeks to find out where the problem is.
Yeah.
I feel like that really explains where the geospatial professional will be, right? You'll be the person who figures out, no, the problem with this is because of that, right?
Yeah.
Because you know you have grasped the concept. You know where the problem could be or what you should be. You know what you should be looking for.
And that's the part whereby AI usually goes, oh, that's a good eye to catch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's like it feeds its own model of what it was giving you, so it becomes better.
Yeah. So where does this place vibe coding?
Good question.
Well, I want to go back first to your question you asked earlier. The question you
Yeah.
asked earlier. I think geospatials versus AI, where we are heading to is we will need geospatials to sort of correct the AI. Yeah.
I like
So you've taken your 5 years, 4 or is it 5 years
Yes,
in
it's
school,
5 and 4. Was it?
but you're learning
5.
5. I took 4.
Yeah.
You're learning how things should be.
Yeah.
So if someone vibes code
Yeah.
a map, then and there is an issue, that person will not be able to correct.
Yeah.
And we go back to the use of the map. So if you're using it for boundaries, then you have to be accurate, right? You have to do some things a specific way. So a normal user or a general user might not know what the issue is, right?
Yeah.
But a professional, a person who has done this for a long time,
Yeah.
will now be needed to come and correct,
Yeah.
course correct the model, course correct the solution. So yeah, it's going to be for a few people, unfortunately. Few people are going to scale with AI,
Yeah.
but it's going to be majorly correcting AI. So it's like we're having now, we call them chief prompters. What do we call
Yeah.
There's
It's like
a
having
name.
Prompt
QA
engineers.
Yeah, prompt
people.
engineers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Engineers, yeah.
So we have prompt engineers, people who know how to talk to these models.
Yeah.
But that does not mean that the classic JS is going away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say some information that might be here or there, but our government, for a fact, and maybe it's something we'll talk about, is slow in uptaking AI
Yeah.
or tech for its reasons. And so we still have sectors that will peg their major functions in classic GIS. So that's still there. It's
Yeah.
not going anywhere. And they are big industries. Government is it's a whole industry, like having government using classic GIS for their own reasons. So we would still have GIS, but out here on these other things that we have people who can refine these models.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that is the future for us. You can't compete with AI, but you can actually help it become better, or even let it help you become better.
Yeah. I like that. And the other thing is, there's something else that I'm also really fascinated about. So still within this AI thing, there's also schema-aware components that come in, right? From an internal perspective, it means that I was starting to realize how metadata is going to be such a big thing. I don't know if you guys normally add metadata to anything you publish. I know we get careless about that, where you're literally even
careless.
given what you should fill,
Yeah.
tags, title, about, description,
name, yeah.
and then you just end up putting test. It's like, I really don't have time to populate this.
Yeah.
But when you step back, you start to realize how this thing is going to be very dependent on metadata. Because that's how, even internally, when talking about in an organization and you want to know, again, from an LLM perspective or from a generative AI perspective, right? When you're getting to agentic AI, which is also a really big thing now in Geo, right? Where now it's a customer care agent asking how many customers are in Kibera, right? And you want to know that. So again, the thing that I like about it is now everyone becomes very location aware because it's an agent you're basically interacting with. Literally, my grandma could go and type, how many, I don't know, shops are close to Kitale or close to my town, right? So it's really made that possible. But now internally, I see a role. I don't know if that would be a role that we all sort of now have to take up, where we learn how to work with metadata sets.
Yeah.
And now we eventually, I see us having AI engineers, data engineers who now figure out how these schemas that you have internally create the responses that you want across departments, right? So if you're in finance, if you're asking, it's very interesting. So the things I'm observing this year when I take a look back is also how this is going to change internally when it comes to deploying GIS solutions at an enterprise level or at an organizational level. That's going to change. Because again, you also want to make sure that the person in customer care does not ask the AI a finance question and it gives them that question, that answer, right? Simply because of roles and privileges within companies, right? So security is going to be a big thing in agentic AI, and I'm curious, and I'm really looking forward to see how GeoNads implement such solutions at an enterprise perspective or enterprise level, because that's going to change the game. But yeah, enough of that. There's something fascinating I saw still on agentic AI. Do you guys know Esri? Oh wait, you
No, I
obviously know
don't.
You guys
Esri.
know Esri. That's the question.
What's Esri?
Who doesn't know?
Okay, so Esri did a demo prototype
Yeah.
at the SVUC. I think it was at the SVUC. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they did a prototype last year. And it was so fascinating because I don't know if they've deployed it yet. If they have, please forgive me for that, but it was in their prototypes demo. And so one of the things they're doing is Esri partnered with AWS and they partnered with Azure, right? So AWS, we know them for cloud, right? We know Microsoft or Azure again for cloud computing, and the Microsoft, I think, what is it called, that Microsoft thing? Microsoft Suite, right? So Esri's prototype last year was, I don't know if you guys have interacted with ODK or Survey 123. Has anyone interacted with any? Yeah. So data collection tools. So this caught my attention, again, in just the observing interfaces component and mapping assistance. So now what Esri is doing is within Survey 123. If you interact with Survey 123, which is a data collection tool, and if you interact with open source tools, ODK is a really good example, right? They all run on the same basis or building layer, right? You're basically configuring the XLS, publishing it, goes to an app, right? So their prototype last year was, this guy went to the Esri online. If you worked with Esri, you know they have ArcGIS Online, and they have the ArcGIS Enterprise, right? The SaaS and the platform as a service component, ArcGIS Enterprise. So he literally went online and literally just typed, again on the mapping assistant, which is the, what you're talking about, emergence of agents, right? And he basically just typed, there's a flood happening in point XY, generate for me a survey for this location. It did that within minutes. Literally, like, he did that prototype, and I remember feeling so blown away. Because if you've configured ODK, or if you've configured Survey 123, you know you have 3 different worksheets. There's the worksheet 1 where you put the questions, worksheet 2 for answers, worksheet 3 for settings, all those things. So within minutes, he had his survey done, right? Then the next thing he did was someone uploaded a picture, right? So someone is filling in that form from the field. So automatically that mapping assistant has created for you a survey. So the only thing you're doing is maybe doing a few modifications, right?
Yeah.
So the next thing on that prototype he did is he said, I'm in the field, so I want to submit this data. So in terms of disasters, you know how important time is. So he asked it, so there's a part where you upload the photos, right? When you're in the field. So upload for me a picture of the disaster or the damage that's happening. That was the most fascinating part, because now they've implemented computer vision, and this guy uploaded that picture, and then automatically from that picture, this agent filled out that survey, like someone who's in the field. Like, it looked at it, it said, this is a damaged car, trees are fallen, these are the number of cars I'm seeing. Like, literally filled out that survey, like a complete feedback loop of that prototype to just show you how mapping assistants are going to change how we look at data. So I'm not sure if they've deployed it, but sometimes that kind of shows you how agentic AI is going to change how we look at things and how it's going to change how we look at data. So yeah, I'm excited to look at how this evolves over time. I can't wait to see what ODK does, because I love comparing frontier softwares against open source.
Yeah.
Because I think open source is also really big. I love what open source communities do. They think from it's an innovative driven community, right?
yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting to see what ODK comes up with, to see what any other software people come up with. I think QGIS have shown us the agent side of it and what they're already doing, right?
Quite impressive. Yeah.
So yeah, those are very interesting insights that I've seen from last year.
AI
Yeah, AI
related.
yeah, and the emergence of these natural language processing interfaces. I'm trying to think of what else I saw last year that was interesting. From a tech perspective, have you guys seen anything else that was interesting apart from the agentic AI component?
Interesting. I think I've mentioned my side of it, especially in the tech side.
The foundation
Yeah,
models.
although there's a lot, but personally I'm usually more on the analysis side. So there's a lot of these ensemble machine learning that I'm beginning to learn. Apparently you can combine several models, some that are slow, some that are fast thinkers. It's like having an entire class and you're like, what, guys, we need to move together. Your response that you've given us, we need to level it out. You're a fast learner, we need to try and use yours to give this one some energy. So it's like it perfectly tries to balance all these different models.
Yeah.
Yeah, the algorithms and everything, just to get the perfect, let's say, threshold for something. Yeah, and it's one of the things that have actually been quite impressive.
Is it like classification where you try and put them fast within the same sort of resolution and classes before you start really working on but now from a modeling, from an AI agent's perspective?
Right. So from how I'd explain is that there is some sort of like an overseer. So this ensemble machine learning one is probably an overseer. There are so many variations of ensemble machine learning. The closest variation that people can understand is random forest.
Oh yeah.
You see how there's usually so many trees,
yeah.
and each of them tries to make their decision.
Yeah.
And then they try to see who are like the one that has been voted for by the most, and that is the one that they pick as the one. So that is some form of ensemble machine learning. But now there's this other side where by now you can use random forest, support vector machine, the
you can
CAT.
combine
So yeah, you combine them, then there's an overseer. Now you do realize something like land use, land cover, random forest performs better than CAT.
Yeah.
And maybe the one that comes close is SVM.
Yeah.
So this is just a random idea. And now what you do is that you combine all of them and maybe put a couple of layers that are probably supposed to use to be predicting something. And each of them needs to come up with their own weight that they would use to predict this. Let's say if it's floods, each of them they're supposed to come up. So, but it makes so many runs whereby it balances and removes biasness, because there are those that that are really sensitive to outliers and everything, and there are those that are like they make so many assumptions that could be on the low side. So it tries to balance everything, and that is one of the new things in technology that
I need to go.
It's really impressive.
I need to go look up on that. And I'm curious to know what you guys think of last year for the geotech industry, what technologies you're looking forward to exploring, what observations you've made in market, and how that is influencing how you look at your career and how you're seeing that evolving. I think before we wrap up, there's something else we need to talk about. What do you guys think we are not talking enough about on this industry? What are we not talking about
you'd never
enough?
ask. Okay, first and foremost, I've been told this by many people. First, we are not talking enough about how to get jobs after uni, like in terms of refining your CV and everything. And also, most importantly, how interns are supposed to be paid. The fact that they're supposed to be paid, man.
Yeah.
Do you want to clap for him for making that point?
I'm sure there will be so many comments about that. Yeah,
Pay interns, guys.
Yeah, I mean,
Pay interns.
I'm fighting for your rights.
Yay, Martin Luther. I love that.
Prince, not king.
Nelson Mandela. Yeah.
I like that you brought
Pan-African
that home.
thing.
I like that. Yeah. But yeah, guys. Yeah, I don't think we talk about that enough. I like that we talked about that. Please pay interns, and even there's something else that we don't talk about enough. There's something.
I'm not speaking about where I'm working, guys. I'm very comfortable. I'm happy.
I know.
I don't have problems with my HR. I'm pretty good there.
Even for my sake, please be interns.
I wanted to add something about interns. Like, interns are probably the most tech-savvy guys that come to your organization X. So if you have like, don't want to call them millennials, but these people who are maybe entered into the job market a long time
Are you
ago.
talking about me?
Well, No, but you're tech savvy. You're
Oh,
tech
boy,
savvy. So
yeah,
yeah. So interns come into an organization with a lot of tools that are very useful. And we say that you pay interns what they should be paid, I don't know what they should be paid, but pay them
Yeah.
enough. I mean, they are very useful, guys. You're not just teaching them something; they're also teaching you faster ways of doing things. Yeah. So
And
they
also-
bring in
yeah.
tools. They give you awareness that you can go and now start lobbying for in your organization that we can use these things. So.
Because the other important aspect, thank you for bringing that one up, is also on the power of incentivization. Like if
Okay.
it's not just about people fighting, you know what, we need to be paid because we are coming to work. It's just also that aspect of also showing someone's appreciation of their effort. So that aspect also is really, really important when it comes to motivating a team or motivating maybe interns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because there are companies that give 0 shillings. You spend your own transport, you spend your
Yeah.
own energy on a daily basis, and they don't even guarantee that they are going to absorb you after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's some even that you actually need to pay for you to sign up for.
Don't mention
for the
names, but
internship.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that is also another conversation, and also on the revamping of the CVs, especially in line with the ATS, the application tracking systems for the CVs, because there are thousands and thousands of CVs that are usually uploaded on any application, on any offer, job offer.
Yeah.
But now, how do you tweak it to the way that yours stands out relative
Yeah.
to the job description that have been given there?
Yeah.
So that is another conversation that we probably need to be having more often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that I've had so far. Don't know
I
if
think still on the payment thing, there's something else that I think, and maybe this is just not a Geotech thing, is this thing where you look at the deliverable. Wait, let's start first with the qualifications of jobs. I feel like normally when you look at the job qualifications that are needed, and then you go down and look at the compensation, you're trying to make sense of,
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like it's we need 10 years of experience. Like, yeah, cool, okay. First of all, based on what you've explained,
I can do this.
right? It's possible, right? Then you go to the bottom and it's
10 years experience.
and then the compensation you compare it against the experience you want.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So there's that side. Then there's also the side of you're just being ridiculous with the years of experience that is needed, right? Because some people are just out of school. So
And
essentially,
they can do those things.
and they can do those
Yeah.
things, right? So I don't know if it's a revamp of how people look at skills and job market, or I also don't know if it's we also need people who are in HR to be more aware of the skills that are out here and how they match up
And
at
also
that
the
organizational level,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I think we need to have a HR person actually come on board in one of the episodes, right? 'Cause it would help
right. I'm
really
writing that one
address this conversation. And another topic still for that HR person would be geographic refactoring, where you basically look at the pay.
You've
of that
always
person.
been mentioning about this.
I know.
Yeah.
Where I normally compare techies who are paid.
Which company hurt your feelings though?
Guys,
Because you've always been speaking about
they make up it here. But anyway, I think that's the other conversation, right? I think we need a HR person to basically break this down for us from a reasoning perspective, how that works, and what does that look like that we don't understand from a technical perspective. Because as we look at the job and the technique and the deliverables, and you're like, this pay does not match up this, right?
Yeah.
Or sometimes these qualifications are diabolical for this role, right? So just a conversation around that.
Yeah, I think I want to add something about the qualifications. We agree that most of the schools that teach tech are always trying to teach students the latest tools
Yeah.
that can do those things that the organizations are asking for people with 10 years experience
Yeah.
who might have learned it in the job.
Yeah.
So if you say I want a 10-year experience person to do this thing and I just came out of campus, I can do all this maybe with AI or maybe I can do it with the latest tech, then it doesn't make sense to, it's like telling a person you need to have spent more time doing something so that you can actually become a master of
Yeah.
it. And maybe those things were repeatable, things that AI can do. So you're like telling me you should have digitized for 5 years.
Have you guys ever digitized, by the way? Let's talk
I
about
did,
it.
man.
Yeah, I
Or
did
came
last
with
week.
AI
I did last week.
here.
Oh yeah,
Digitize?
I can ask you. Yeah, we've done a couple of digitization.
Like literally drawing on top of a line, which is a road you're digitizing. You've done that.
I'm speaking about software Zero. Wait, are we?
Yeah,
in the
like
same
have you
page?
manually digitized, or you know normally now you just use
Oh,
AI?
I don't think I've ever manually digitized it. Not even in uni.
I did.
Have I?
Even for government, I think
No.
in my
You've
attachment,
not?
yes.
Manually.
Oh,
You guys have?
man.
You understand what you're always saying? Like you're tracing over.
He's not done that.
Okay.
Wow, I love this for you. Yeah,
Oh
but yeah.
wait. Yeah, in photogrammetry we did that when there were these two what is it called? Like this huge machine that they used to use back in the past. Like it had two handles and you could zoom in, zoom out using the two different hands, and you had to draw it. Oh, okay.
I'm talking
because
about,
it's
like-
for the 1980s and stuff like that. We have an entire museum, guys, at the University of Nairobi there.
Yeah,
you need to
there's
pop in.
I think what you're saying is
I'm talking about digitizing. You know how
Digitizing the-
when
scanned map,
yes,
scanned map software.
or even
and then trace,
like you literally
and
do not
then-
have
and then
vector
attribute.
versions of the data that is needed.
Uh-huh.
So now you literally are drawing on top of an image to create that road.
Okay. I
Just
see.
scan
You
that.
even
See
taken
what
to a
you did.
class on how you should scan. Like you want to scan it correctly so that
Have you
you
done
have-
georeferencing?
Yeah, we've done georeferencing.
Okay.
Then
okay,
you've done
okay.
digitizing.
At
5
least
years
you've
here,
done,
yeah.
you've done a couple of workflows. But yeah, I like that we've talked about the things we don't talk about enough. I think the other thing is I want to throw this to the audience. Let us know what you look forward for season 3. Know that you can obviously see us. Let us know in the comments the technologies you're exploring, what you observed last year in the ecosystem, and most importantly, what you want to see for this particular season. From a very holistic perspective, whether it's tools, it's guests. If you also want to be a guest, give us a shout out. We'll definitely feature you. So yeah, let's interact in the comments and let us know what you think this season should be about. We definitely have a lot of really good conversations in line for this particular season. And before we end it, there's something we forgot. Do you guys want to?
Yeah.
Do you know what we forgot? Do you know what it is? Please guess the right thing or don't. What did we forget?
I think I've run low
that?
on my omega-3 area. You might need to remind me.
So for the first time ever,
Yeah.
we finally did a Geohabari Wrapped. And wanted to end on such a high note.
Yeah.
Like
881%. 881% rise.
guys, manze,
Literally,
with
that
them
is
kitu
1 to
support,
8
wenye
is
mnatu
1.
support. We are so grateful. So we did a Wrapped. Our Geohabari Wrapped is now out across all
Our socials,
Yeah, all
yeah.
our socials. So it's on our LinkedIn, it's on our Instagram, it's on X. Yeah, we please have a look at it. But yeah, I think that was another highlight for last year. So you took us globally. So you listened to us you listened to us in 20 countries, which was so mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
What was the other highlight that was really good? Oh, the 881.
Yeah, that was really outstanding.
That was amazing. So thank you for tuning in, listening, supporting us when you were purely on Spotify. I like to say you were in the shadows. But yeah, I really like that. Was there anything else that stood out for you?
Someone else will continue being in the shadows. But yeah. The fact that you talked about us in your conversations, because that is what also Spotify says.
Yeah.
I think we were like the top 10% talked about podcast.
Like in terms of the comments as well.
Yes.
Yeah, like
the
people are
comments.
sharing, talking about Geohabari to one another. That also is a stat that we heard. And
Yeah.
I think we're among the top 10%, and we really want to thank you guys.
Thank you,
Yeah.
man. The other one that was really also interesting or exciting was the partnerships. I think the organizational partnerships for me was just another highlight. So there's an episode we did with OpenStreetMap, which was a really good episode around open data and the power of open data.
Africa Women in Space as well.
series,
Right? Yes, Africa Women in Space. Gesa took with Kuza on GIS Day. Guys,
WRI.
World Resources Institute. Shout out to World Resources Institute for being our very first on-ground partner, because they are the ones who made our GIS Day possible with Technical University and Kuza guys. So shout out to that. You should definitely look at the things we did for GIS. I don't think I've seen that done anywhere locally. Do you want to challenge that as a guest chair?
Oh, right. Yeah. So speaking on behalf of... No, I'm kidding. It was really
But yeah.
impressive. It was really impressive.
Shout out to Technical University for throwing the most amazing GIS day. We had games. We had a stack of cards where we were breaking GIS myths. I think we'll play actually the stack of cards with some of the guests.
Yeah.
What was the other thing we had? We had really good merchandise and stickers. So that was a really good highlight.
Which
GIS
on
Day
the
was
way.
definitely a highlight.
new
There's something else that's coming that we've not talked about.
Oh yeah, we are moving this to the Pan-African. That was the focus. And also if there's any guests maybe from Rwanda, Senegal, Nigeria, South Africa that you have in mind, please reach out to us so that we can try to get them for you guys on the next episode. Young professionals, tech, space, any of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're forgetting about merchandise. Are you serious?
I'm not forgetting about much. I thought you would talk about it. Yeah, we have our merchandise coming soon. We have the mugs, we have teas. We've not worn them, but we have a range of merchandise that is coming out, and I think we'll announce.
Yeah, I think
where
we'll have
guys
them
can
on the
pick.
site.
And we really can't wait for you people to explore our merchandise and don them in this. We promise it's not written Geohabari to what do we say, to
We
market
promise it's a fashion
Geohabari. It's a
statement.
fashion statement.
It's not
So look out for our merchandise. We are gonna tell you the details of where we are gonna buy them.
All right.
Hang on a second. I think there is something that we might have forgotten.
Yeah.
The upcoming hackathon.
Oh, yes. And even when we were talking, I just thought maybe we should do a map challenge and just feature the most beautiful maps. But yeah.
There's that as well.
Yeah, hackathons as well. I think this year we want to engage the community more. So definitely hackathons, more events. And we'll definitely keep that on. We'll have that on our website.
More
right?
partnerships here.
Yeah. So we're definitely looking forward to bringing on board more partnerships, more adding value to the community through hackathons, events as well, live recording sessions where we have you guys in studio. I think there are guys who said actually last season that they're going to be in studio.
They would love, that's what
So,
I'm saying.
yeah.
Also, would like to know how your idea of Geohabari should also flow. So feel free to comment there and let us know as well. Or you can reach out to us on social media, text there. Or maybe if you want to DM Yeriwo, she's such a sweet soul, you can do that as well.
She is, guys. Yeah.
Wow, sweet soul on camera. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for this. So officially, this is season 3,
episode
episode 1,
one.
and this is the Geohabari team.
whoop.
And-
part of the Geohabari team. And yeah, this is the first time we've done this on camera. Yeah, my arms feel weak because of the
The excitement.
the pressure this has had, but this has been a really good experience. So we look forward to a lot more episodes, a lot more guests on his segment, on my segment, on Charles's segment, and we can't wait to engage with you guys more. So thank you so much.
We also have a community, Slack community. Yeah, we also have, we're going to have an email list where we are going to talk about the opportunities we talk about in our episodes, the people we're going to, if you want to interact with the guests that we have, we're going to have that in our emailing list or in our sort of monthly newsletter.
Yeah.
We also have a Slack community, guys, where you can discuss on the episodes. We can also talk about the opportunities that we get in from our guests or from this. So we are gonna have somewhere where we can talk about the things we talk about in the episode and also get resources that maybe you missed out in the episode. So watch out, guys. It's geohabari.slack, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just geohabari.slack.
Yeah. But we'll have it on the description
Yeah.
panel of this video as well. But thank you so much, guys. Until next time, this is the Geohabari podcast.
This is the Geohabari podcast, and I'm Linus Snyder, Young Professional segment.
Yeriwo Kitio, the Tech Stack segment.
Vincent, Vini, the creative behind all these guys.
This is the Geohabari podcast.